Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sutherland, for answering all those questions. So for now, I would like to invite one of the team that this country I've personally visited in, I think, late 2019. They have great food, great transportation system, a very clean country, and I had an unforgettable experience for riding the high-speed rail from Taipei up to Kaohsiung. So without further ado, let me share a video prepared by the Taiwanese Agile community.
Hi, we're from Taiwan, which is not to be confused with Thailand. It is an independent country in East Asia, geographically located south of Japan, north of the Philippines, and east of China. Taiwan is most famous for producing a considerable percentage of the world's computer components in the 90s and early 2000s. It is also home to Computex, one of the world's biggest IT trade fairs. We've been making real progress during the last 8 years. In 2013, the first ever community-based event organized and led by several local practitioners was held in the capital city of Taipei to promote agile methods and mindset. Within a few months, Microsoft and other major software firms invited Ken Schwaber to be the opening keynote speaker in the Taiwan Agile International Seminar. In 2014, a group of well-respected Agile pioneers started up a group called Agile Me, and in the following years, we saw emerging waves of Agile enthusiasts and meetup groups all over the 4 major metropolitans: Taipei, Hsinchu, Taichung, and Kaohsiung. In 2018, a group of experienced project managers formed the Taiwan Hybrid PMs, which later became the Taiwan Agile Tribe, to encourage Scrum and Agile application outside of the software development industry. In 2019, another iconic group, the Agile Girls, was established to promote gender equality and foster a friendly working environment for female practitioners. This year, thanks to our government officials' excellent response to the pandemic, we held 17 online virtual sessions and offline physical workshops in all 4 major cities of Taiwan. We're starting to see some promising results from Scrum adoptions and Agile transformations across different industries, such as banking, manufacturing, education and teaching, entertainment, pharmaceuticals, marketing, and advertising. Here in Taiwan, we're proud to say that Agile is no longer only for small teams in software development. It is everywhere. Join us as we talk to the co-creator of the Scrum Framework on January 13th, 2021. See you there.
Okay, Taiwan has 3 questions also. The first one, you have been promoting Scrum and Agile for so many years. I'm sure you must have encountered some frustrations and setbacks. How did you deal with these scenarios? Also, if you see some young Scrum Masters as frustrated as you were before, what is your advice for them? Okay, well, if 58% of Scrum teams can't deliver, there's obviously a lot of failures out there. But my background and really the operational aspects of Scrum come from my training as a fighter pilot. And that training was led really by the greatest fighter pilot the world has ever seen, John Boyd. And Colonel Boyd brought his training into the war colleges, and the US Marines today have totally adopted what he called the OODA loop as the core of their strategy. So John says, as soon as you engage, you're going to have resistance. And the resisting forces will come out as you engage. Some of them will be just competition. Some of them will be internal. You'll have people in your company that won't want your team to be successful. They want to steal your people. They want to steal your budget. Some of them are external factors, technology breaks, people quit, COVID happens. So John says the very act of engaging is to flush out the opposition. Then as soon as you see the opposing forces, you observe and you start to reorient and decide to come in at a different angle. And that disrupts the opposition. The forces start to come around to try to block you again, but before they can block you, you're executing another OODA loop to come in at a different angle. And as soon as you get inside the decision loop of the opposing forces, you win 100% of the time. Now, let me give you an example of that. I was hired into Easel to build a new product to replace all old products. We bought a company with the technology to enable it. They gave me the best developers in the company, and we started the team. And I found these new developers didn't know enough about the new technology to do what needs to be done. I kept on coaching them, but they wouldn't do it. So I brought in some of the founders of the company we had acquired from Germany, and they spent a day with my development team. And at the end of the day, I caught the meeting breaking up, and I asked the developers, well, what did you think? And they said, that technology is so awesome. We couldn't believe it. And they told us we had to study every night like we're in the university till midnight to be able to work with it. And then I caught the Germans coming out, and they said, these people do not know enough to do this well unless they're really willing to study hard. They're not going to be capable. So within a week, every team member quit and went and got a job at another company doing old stuff that they knew how to do because they felt inadequate. So I said, that's an example of an OODA loop. Okay, encounter resistance. I come around, I bring in the Germans. They make everything visible and clear. And now everybody sees reality. So you could view that as a failure, right? Because my first Scrum team now is 0. But what did I do? I went and I got the best guy I could find with the company. I said, come on in, we're going to build another team. And that became the team that created Scrum. So failure is just an opportunity to try something different. That would be my recommendation. So as a Scrum Master, you need to have an attitude of, bad things happen. Oh, okay, it's depressing, but you need to pick yourself up and execute the OODA loop, right? Bad things always happen, right? We're in a world where, bad things are always happening. So a great Scrum Master is one that can deal in that world, right? And can really get excited and great I'm sure we have some great Agile coaches here this morning. Those of you who are great Agile coaches, every morning you need to pick yourself up and try something different, right? Because every day something bad happens. That's just the way life is. It's okay. It's okay for bad things to happen. Second question for Taiwan. Scrum is very popular in Taiwan. Many companies are using it. However, there are very few Scrum job openings, Scrum Master job openings. In every version of the Scrum Guide, they all actually mention that Scrum Master is a mandatory role of the Scrum team. In such a case, how can we increase the value of the Scrum Master role? Or is it the same in your company? I remember I had a funny experience some years ago. We were on the one of the internet groups, and I said, I've never seen a great team without a great Scrum Master. And Ron Jeffries, who was one of the founders of Extreme Programming and a signatory of the Agile Manifesto, said to me, well, our XP team didn't have a great Scrum Master. And I said, well, you had Kent Beck, one of the greatest software team leaders of all time. You just didn't call him a great Scrum Master. So it's just like soccer teams, great soccer teams, great rugby teams. They have great team captains. and that's what's needed. So again, if in Taiwan, if they're doing Scrum and they don't have Scrum Masters, you have to ask, well, how is it working? And if it's working well, you're going to have somebody that's filling that role. Maybe they're not calling him a Scrum Master, but somebody who's helped facilitate the team. And if it's not working well, then it needs to be fixed. So I would say in Taiwan, how many of your teams are doing twice the work in half the time? And most people won't raise their hand. I know that. So then the question is, do you want to? To the management, does the management want more? We find in the United States that managers always want more. So we have to explain them how to get it and deliver it. On the Agile journey, why is the Scrum Master often being suppressed and made obsolete? Is it a must for a Scrum Master to possess strong technical skills to be a good Scrum Master? There's two questions embedded in one there, okay? One of the best Scrum Masters we've ever seen in Boston, where I live, a software company hired a music director to be a Scrum Master. And she knew nothing about software, but she knew how to harmonize the activity of the team. And she had the best team in the entire company. And the management said, wow, this music director is really great. At the same time, the initial model for the Scrum Master was really evolved out of the chief engineer role in Toyota, because the chief engineer is the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the manager all in one. I was hired as the chief engineer at Easel. And one of the first things I did when we decided to call it Scrum, based on Takeuchi Nanaka's work, is we created, in that same meeting, we said, okay, the team leader is going to be the Scrum Master. And I gave that chief engineer piece that was Scrum Master related to a guy named John Scamitales. Now, if you look at the team leaders at Toyota, they are facilitative leaders that work on a team. Everybody knows how to do every job, and the team leader is doing the jobs and helping people to do the jobs. So in that environment, that Scrum Master knows all the technical aspects. So that's really works well. But over time, we found that there are people like this music director that can do as good a job. So what that says, it's all about how to get the team to work together. That's the most important trait. And so that's something you really need to think about when you're looking for a Scrum Master who can really help. Scrum Masters suppressed and made obsolete. All I can say is, well, how is that working? How does that work for you? Does production go up? Do customers get happier? I find there's a lot of executives that complain that these Scrum Masters, they're just secretaries. They're just taking notes and they're not worth the money. That's why we changed the Scrum Guide, because a lot of these Scrum Masters would say, okay, I'm a servant leader. I don't have to do anything except take notes. So that's not going to work. Scrum Masters are going to be suppressed. I remember I was at Cisco in Silicon Valley. They had 1,000 Scrum teams. And I met with the senior management, and they had huge amounts of data. And the data showed that no team was improving. And I said, if no teams are improving, you've got 1,000 Scrum Masters, 300 external Agile coaches. You're paying them all this money. If you got rid of them, you get the same result for much less money. and the Cisco management, they're really smart people. They said, we are not doing our jobs as managers. We are going to retrain every Scrum Master. Every one of them will get a new team. And the expectation was that the Scrum Master is going to remove impediments and that team is going to be going faster. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to be moving around and retraining Scrum Masters all the time. And our management is going to be on top of that.